Hello, hello. We're coming on live. One moment at a time. Coming on live. One moment at a time. Alright. 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 If anyone's tuning in yet, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Alright. Hello, hello, and thank you for joining me here for this mindfulness moment. My name is Dan, and we take a mindful moment 3 times a day, 9 a.m., 12:30, and 7:30, just to remind ourselves and keep ourselves centered in these challenging times. So let's begin. Salutations, as I said, I'm Dan, and this session is going to be about 30 minutes long. It's going to consist of a brief introduction and review, then a topic or discussion, then a guided meditation, then a koan or riddle, and then a departure after that. And our guest of honor, Databyte, just joined us as well. So I like to begin all these sessions with this following opening ceremony. First, we will set an intention. So an intention is a purpose for your practice. It's a meaning, it's a dedication, whatever is important to you. And we'll seal this intention with a deep breath in, long breath out. Good. And next, I like to remind ourselves every class of this valuable quote: "The real meditation is how you live your life." So this is a reminder to live our life in a way that is meditative in mindset, on and off the mat, putting in practice all the things we're learning. Lovely. So I'm just going to briefly review the koan from yesterday. A monk told Joshu, a wise Zen master, "I've just entered the monastery. Please teach me." And Joshu said, "Have you eaten your rice porridge?" And the monk replied, "I have eaten." And Joshu said, "Then you'd better wash your bowl." And at that moment, the monk was enlightened. So again, Zen koans are just kind of mind twisters, things to kind of wrap your head around, and they're completely up to your own personal interpretation. So I'm just going to share what the personal interpretation means for me. To me, this koan is a simple reminder to not overcomplicate things. Oftentimes, in the search for answers or enlightenment or whatever, we overlook the most obvious course of next action. Sometimes the answer is as simple as it's time to clean up the mess. When we begin to act in accordance with what is most simply skillful, we begin enacting enlightenment. Thank you. So next we will review the definition, or our working definition, of mindfulness. Mindfulness is a combination of awareness, equanimity, and concentration. So yesterday we talked about awareness, which is the recognition of existence. I am and I know that I am. Equanimity is the unconditional acceptance of what is now. And concentration is the intention to keep in the mind's attention the cultivation of equanimity and awareness. So of course you can be concentrating on anything, but in the particular practice of mindfulness, we're concentrating on awareness and equanimity. Today, we will be discussing equanimity. What is equanimity? Equanimity is a state of psychological stability, composure, which is undisturbed by experience or that of emotions, pain, or other phenomena. So oftentimes when we think of the rugged individual, the Zen master, a lot of the people who we kind of idolize for maintaining composure, the kind of what they're exemplifying is the quality of equanimity. In a lot of ways, equanimity is what we're searching for externally, yet it is always within us. In fact, it is only ever within us. When we attempt to balance our energy or stay unfazed or not give a flip about anything else, equanimity is that effect. I think another great way to think about this is it's the homeostasis of the mind. Just as our bodies are attempting to regulate balance in our internal environments, equanimity is the conscious practice of attempting to balance our minds. So when we practice equanimity, It's like flexing a muscle that allows us to observe our external and internal events without judgment or reaction. By allowing ourselves authenticity, we experience our present circumstances free from judgment. We become more deeply connected with our most objective realities. We distance ourselves from our subjective narratives, which we create about our realities. These subjective narratives are often, if not always, the greatest source of our own suffering. So now, more than ever, we're living through very uncertain times. It gets very easy to get caught up in the reactionary behavior and patterns of our mind to scramble, make sense, and solve the problems. Equanimity is taking a step back from all of that. So next, I will be sharing a brief parable. It's called The Farmer and the Horse, or the story of the Chinese farmer. I think it illustrates quite beautifully equanimity.
Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer who lost a horse, ran away. And all the neighbors came round that evening and said, "That's too bad." And he said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back and brought 7 wild horses with it. And all the neighbors came around and said, "Why, that's great, isn't it?" And he said, "Maybe." The next day, his son was attempting to tame one of these horses and was riding it and was thrown and broke his leg. And all the neighbors came round in the evening and said, "Well, that's too bad, isn't it?" And the farmer said, "Maybe." And the next day, the conscription officers came around looking for people for the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. And all the neighbors came round that evening and said, "Isn't that wonderful?" And he said, "Maybe." The whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexity, and it is really impossible to tell whether anything that happens in it is good or bad, because you never know what will be the consequences of a misfortune, or you never know what will be the consequences of good fortune.
Good. So I hope we enjoyed that brief parable, and I think it illustrates quite beautifully, kind of the nature of equanimity and the essence of it. When we get to the complexity of life and the interconnectedness and, all the kind of things that come into it, who's to really say what is good and what is bad? Lovely. And now, as we begin our meditation, reflecting on what we've just learned, we're going to settle into a comfortable position. This meditation is called grounded and flexible. And this is my own interpretation, my own play with it. It's originally from an exercise for mindful exercises. Let's begin. Equanimity is the quality of remaining grounded and stable amidst of experience. When you notice suffering and respond with compassion, and you don't get knocked off or bounced by the unexpected, this is equanimity. With equanimity practice, we can cultivate a state of mind that is both grounded and flexible, especially amidst the intense emotional experiences. So closing your eyes and finding a posture, bring your awareness to the present experience. We spend a lot of our time in our heads thinking of the future or the past or anything else. So we're first beginning by just settling our awareness into the present. Noticing any sounds, any feelings in the body. Noting your overall mental state. Opening up your awareness. This is the first practice of equanimity. When something comes up, tune into your mind, noticing where you got knocked off balance. Certain sounds, thoughts, or feelings in the body may be charged, pulling from your calm, reducing your state of mind. Let's just sit with the awareness of ourselves for a couple moments. Remembering, there is nowhere to be. There is nothing you have to do. You're doing exactly as you were meant to be doing in this very moment. And appreciating that. Tuning into sensations, feelings in the body, cues from our environment, simply becoming more present in the moment. Good. Now let's begin our practice by bringing to mind someone you care about deeply. And as you're envisioning this person you care about so deeply, connect with an intention of care for this person. Recognize that although you care for this person, you cannot control their happiness. Sit in that feeling for just a couple moments. And when you are ready, offer a few phrases of equanimity to this person you care about. May you be happy. May you be in charge of your happiness. Your happiness is dependent upon your actions and not my wishes for you. Good. And still holding that person you care in mind, or feel free to pick a new person. Offering again phrases of equanimity. May you be happy. May you be in charge of your happiness. Your happiness is dependent upon your actions, not my wishes for you. And one more time, holding in our mind's eye someone we deeply care about, or someone new. May you be happy. May you be in charge of your happiness. Your happiness is dependent upon your actions and not my wishes for you. Good. Now, Let's envision someone who's currently experiencing pain or suffering. Bring this person to mind and connecting with the intention to give them care, but remaining stable, offering these phrases, compassion and equanimity. May you be free from suffering. May you take action to care for your pain. Your freedom is dependent upon your actions, not my wishes for you. Good. And holding still that person who's in pain or suffering, or perhaps someone who's a source of difficulty, offering again these phrases of compassion and equanimity. May you be free from suffering. May you take action to care for your pain. Your freedom is dependent upon your actions, not my wishes for you. Okay. One final time, holding in our mind's eye someone who is suffering or in pain or a source of difficulty. May you be free from suffering. May you take action to care for your pain. Your freedom is dependent upon your actions, not my wishes for you. Lovely. And finally, bring to mind somebody in your life who has had some joy or success recently. Offer a few phrases of appreciative joy, still staying connected to your equanimity. Even in joy, we balance with equanimity. May you continue joy. May you be in charge of your joy. Your joy is in your hands and is not dependent upon my wishes for you. Wonderful. Bringing to mind again and maintaining in mind's eye someone who's had joy or success recently. May your joy continue. May you be in charge of your joy. Your joy is in your hands and is not dependent upon my wishes for you. And one final time, balancing again with equanimity. May your joy continue. May you be in charge of your joy. Your joy is in your hands and is not dependent upon my wishes for you. Good. And now, I would like to offer these phrases, all of these phrases, to you and to ourselves. May I be happy. May I be in charge of my happiness. My happiness is dependent upon my actions, not others' wishes. May I be free from suffering. May I take action to be free from pain. My freedom is dependent upon my actions, not others' wishes for me. May I continue my joy. May I be in charge of my joy. May joy be in my hands and not dependent upon the wishes of others. And finally, I'd like to offer one unifying phrase, one unifying gesture that we offer everyone, all in one, the same intentions. May we all be happy. May we all be in charge of our own happiness. May our happiness be dependent on our actions, not on the wishes of others. May we be free from suffering. May we take action to care for our pain. May our freedom be dependent on our actions and not others' wishes. May our joy continue. May we be in charge of our joy. And may our joy be in our hands and not dependent on the wishes of others. Wonderful. And now, we're going to take a couple moments to sit in comfortable stillness and balance of mind. Focus to the present moment with awareness, perhaps to our breath. Once again, simply tuning in again to our present surroundings, noticing if anything is different. Simply noting if anything has changed. Settling in a comfortable stillness for a couple more. And gently return to our own experience. But before opening the eyes, recognize that your happiness is in your own hands. And be proud of yourself and your effort in practicing and encouraging happiness for yourself and others. Thank you. Wonderful. I hope you all enjoyed that meditation. It's a very active meditation. And it, just to kind of a review, we envisioned someone we cared about, and then envisioned a form of suffering, then a form of joy. And that's the basic structure. So something that's kind of easy for you to connect with, and something that's a little bit more challenging for you to connect with, and ending with a practice of joy. Then we kind of added some additional components, personalizing and then generalizing it as well. So thank you again for participating in that lovely meditation in equanimity. And last but not least, our parting words of wisdom, our koan Zen riddle to see us off. Shuzen held out his short staff and said, "If you call this a short staff, you oppose its reality. If you do not call it a short staff, you ignore the fact. Now what do you wish to call it?" So I'll let that sit for just a second. Wonderful. Thank you all for joining me for this mindfulness moment. It was an honor and pleasure getting to share it with you. I wish you all the best ventures until next time. Much love. Take it easy.